This is part 9 of starting a single person business. It's the final episode in this little mini course that I put together to show new entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs how to start a business using AI and by themselves. And over the last 8 episodes, you've built something real. You identified a problem that was worth solving. You defined your first product. You set up a website, an email collector, a Facebook group. You wrote your first marketing post. You built a 30-day content strategy. You launched 4 marketing funnels: social media, referrals, content, and paid ads. You have a business now. And the question is now, how do you grow it? And this is where most entrepreneurs go wrong. The real key to business success is almost never to find the new thing. It's to repeat what's working with consistency. And that should take up most of your time as the founder. 90% of your time running a business should be spent executing on what works. 10% at most of your time should be spent looking for new things to try. There are very successful businesses that only change 1 or 2 things a year. But there's a lot of unsuccessful entrepreneurs who try to change 1 or 2 things in their business every single week. And even once a month for major changes is way too much, because every time you make a change in your business, that business goes backward a step, not permanently, but temporarily. And when you change anything, the business suffers in the short term while you adjust before it might do better in the long term. And that's why we make changes. Think of it like a muscle. You exercise the muscle, it takes a little step backward, and then you rest, and the muscle gets bigger and stronger. It supercompensates. But if you never rest, if you keep tearing the muscle down without letting it recover, it just gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and eventually it gets injured, it gets broken. And your business works the same way. You make a change, and then you let your business absorb it. You run the new process until it's working, and then it grows. And only then do you think about making another change. Entrepreneurs who are constantly changing things never give their business a chance to supercompensate. Instead of 1 step backward and then 3 steps forward, or 1 step backward and 10 steps forward, it's 1 step backward, 1 step backward, 1 step backward. And before they know it, they've got a broken business that's always changing and never growing. Now, there's always a novelty bias with entrepreneurs. We're surrounded by so much information and so many ideas that we feel like we're falling behind if we're not doing the latest thing. We need to be on new platforms. We need new tactics. We need tools, new trends. We need to do what the other guys are doing, but also the things that they're not doing yet, all the stuff they've never even thought of, the stuff that's brand new that we need to invent ourselves. That is a trap. That's the novelty trap. Your time is your greatest investment until you're earning at least $100,000 a year. Chasing novelty is the worst possible investment of that time, because you have to invest time learning the new thing, understanding it, applying it, and then tweaking it until it actually works for you. That's weeks or months of effort, and you haven't even tested whether it's better than what you already have, just because you heard a new idea on a podcast. The way that you actually grow is to get better and better at what you're already doing. Your 4 marketing funnels, your sales process, your lead nurture system, your service delivery. You will get much further investing time in each of these things than you will adding anything new. You can't keep starting from scratch every Monday. Now, we're going to talk about the process for doing that, for keeping it interesting, for building with consistency, for making incremental gains over time. But first, I want to tell you the truth about your business. You are the ceiling. I know one of the reasons that most entrepreneurs start a business is because you want control. I get it. And the ability to make decisions and change direction feels like part of the freedom that you get from entrepreneurship. But the place you need to exercise control most in your business is yourself. Your business will always be limited by its leadership. You're not the floor of your business after about the first month. You become the ceiling. You are the thing usually holding your business back, especially after you hire staff. If you're focused and disciplined and consistent, even when things feel boring, your business will grow fast and consistently all the time. But if you're inconsistent and reactive and constantly changing direction, your business won't grow at all. You'll be chasing your tail all the time, and your staff will follow you in that tail chasing. So where do you go from here? Well, the process for growing your business from this point is a little bit more nuanced, but you can still do it yourself. You need to buy back some of your time so that you can invest it in higher value activities like getting better at marketing or getting better at sales or handling the greater volume of clients coming in or refining your product. Buying back your time means that you either hire a human for low value tasks like cleaning, pickups, admin, the stuff that almost anybody could do, or you leverage AI to handle more of that work. This series is about building a single person business, so keep that constraint in mind. But there are some things that a robot can't do. What I'm going to share with you today is a strategy for identifying your next priority, acting on that priority until it makes a measurable difference to grow your business, and then identifying the next one. You know your business and you grow your business in incremental steps, not huge leaps. This process is called the Simple Six. I'm going to walk you through it right now. If you want to get a copy of this workbook, just go to businessisgood.com, find this episode, and you can download the workbook. Call this process the Simple Six because there are only six metrics that really matter in your business, especially if you're a service business. If you improve each one of those metrics in turn, one at a time with focused intent, your business will grow without backsliding. So here are the six. First, what we would call headcount. So these are how many clients you have. Now, if you're in a service business, your goal is to get these clients onto some kind of recurring model. That's why software charges for a subscription now instead of selling you like a DVD that you put in your hard drive. That's why when you come to a gym now, you pay a membership for your personal training instead of buying a package of 10. That's why when you're hiring your dog walker, you look at their monthly rate instead of saying how much for 5 walks this week, because it makes everybody's business simpler and you can kind of project what's coming in advance. Headcount is how many of those recurring clients you have. Now, if you're running a salon, hairdressing studio, lawn care business, snow removal business, and you don't have people on a recurring membership and they only come in when they feel like they need a haircut or when it snows, that's the very first thing you can do to fix your business is get them on to some kind of recurring membership. That makes your business predictable and it actually helps them make better use of your business. So it increases their value to you and your value to them too. Imagine if one of your clients had a hairdressing appointment with you on the 5th of every month. They would always have a good haircut instead of waiting until their hair is grown out. It looks like crap. Oh, geez, I got a call. Now they're trying to get in. Your schedule is already crammed. You're fitting them in by working late or skipping lunch. It would be so much easier for both of you if they had a recurring appointment in advance. The second metric that you want to track is called ARM. Now, this is your average revenue per client per month or per member. So if you've got people coming in, this is like how much they spend in the average month. If somebody's coming in for music lessons, for example, and you're charging $70 a week, then their ARM is 4 times 70 or $280. If you're selling somebody personal training and your rate is $100 an hour and they come 8 times a month, their ARM is $800 per month. That's your average revenue per person. And if you don't know this, all you do is you take your total revenue and you divide it by the number of clients that you have, and you'll get your ARM. The third one is called lag. This is length of engagement. This is how long the average client stays with you, how many purchases they make. And if they pay monthly, you count the months. If they book recurring appointments, you count their visits. This is client retention. If you're doing a financial service, your leg should be in the years, maybe in the decades. If you're doing business coaching, for example, your leg should be months, probably 2 to 3 years at least. If you're doing something that's a little bit more transactional, like wedding planning, you're probably only going to keep people for once or twice in their life. So their length of engagement is going to be short. The fourth metric we want to track is return on investment right here. Now, return on investment is a really interesting one. This is your expenses as a percentage of your total revenue. You improve this by cutting costs or increasing returns on what you've already spent. So you've got your space, right? You're paying $500 a month to rent a chair at the hairdressing studio, and you want to improve your ROI. You can make more money, work more days, see more clients, raise your rates, whatever, or you can cut expenses. If you own a facility like a gym, for example, ROI is a really critical number because you have to look at every square foot of that gym and say, like, how can I get a better return? What ROI does is forces you to track your expenses, but it forces you to look at every dollar you spend in rent, in staff, in insurance, in internet access as an investment, and ask, how can I make money back from that investment? Another great example here is an accountant. A lot of people see accounting as an expense, but an accountant is an investment. And an accountant should make you back at least triple what you pay them. You should be able to ask your accountant, how can I get a better return on our time together? And they should be able to tell you exactly. The fifth metric you're going to track is effective hourly rate. This is what your time is worth as the owner. And it's what you do is you calculate your total take home divided by the total hours that you work. This tells you whether you're building a business or you're building a job. This is what I would call the CEO metric. And a lot of people want to make more money, but you don't make more money by working more hours as the owner. You make more money by doing more important work with the hours that you have. And so improving your effective hourly rate means that you give yourself a raise or you work less. Most people listening to this podcast, especially if you're just starting out, you'll make more money and you'll give yourself a raise, and that will improve your effective hourly rate. And the last metric that we're going to be tracking here is net owner benefit. This is what the business pays you. It's everything you take from the business, your salary, your dividends, any personal expenses the business maybe pays for, like your cell phone. This is what the business is actually contributing to your life. Now, these 6 metrics multiply each other. If you've got more clients coming in times higher ARM, then you've got more top line revenue. And if you've got longer retention for every client that comes in, then that's going to dramatically improve your profitability. When you improve your effective hourly rate, for example, you free up time to focus on the metrics that drive growth. And when you improve your ROI, a lot more of the revenue that comes in drops straight to the bottom line and becomes profit. When your net owner benefit goes up here, you can reinvest in the business or you can invest in yourself through mentorship. The magic isn't improving all 6 at once. That's impossible. And that's what most entrepreneurs try, and it's why they get stuck. The magic is in improving one at a time. So let's talk about how the simple 6 works. You can see it broken out here. SixStorm: set smart goals, select and plan tactics, schedule action, systemize, and stay consistent. The first thing that we're going to do is the SixStorm. So for each one of these 6 metrics, we're going to do ARM as an example. Brainstorm a list of ways that you could improve average revenue per member. So what you're going to do is you're going to set a timer for 1 minute, 5 minutes if it's your first time doing this. Write down every idea that you can think of to improve your ARM, for example. And it doesn't matter if it's a good idea, bad idea, what. So let's say that I'm talking about one of my businesses, which is a gym. I still run about 4 different businesses. And I do this quarterly with the leadership team for each business to say, here's what our primary tactics are going to be for this next quarter. So if we were trying to raise our ARM for our gym, we could raise rates. We could move more people to PT, personal training. We could add on nutrition. We could focus on higher value services, like more personal training, more semi-private training, even kids training is a higher value service than adult a lot of the time, etc. We could add retail. Okay. So that would be like supplements, etc. We could have a partner membership, which you wouldn't discount. That would increase your ARM, etc. But what you're looking at is like, what does the average client pay and how can we increase that for every client? This is a very powerful metric, and the fitness industry is the one that actually gets most overlooked. Now, by the end of this SixStorm, you're going to have lists and lists and lists. You're going to have dozens of ideas across all the 6 categories. Most of them will be obvious. Some of them might be kind of creative, and a few will be brilliant. As a single person business, you can do this alone. Just grab a piece of paper or grab this worksheet from businessisgood.com and go. If you want to use AI, I'll give you a prompt that you can just paste right into Claude. It's just like, I run this business. Help me brainstorm 10 tactics for each of these 6 business metrics: client headcount, average revenue per client, length of client engagement, return on investment for expenses, my effective hourly rate, and my net owner benefit. After you've got a list, so you've got like 6 things for each category, then you're going to set a SMART goal. Set a SMART goal. Now, what we're trying to do here is kind of calibrate our rifle. Like, how much are we going to try to improve our ARM? What if it's like 10%? 10% is a good, smart goal. I recommend 6% for a lot of my clients, but if you're doing this by yourself, just to make the math easy, set a smart goal of 10%. Okay. Not 50%, not double my business, double my headcount, but like 6 to 10%. And here's why. If you improve one metric by 6% every month, so this goes up 6%, this goes up 6%, this goes up 6% across every month, that will double your business in a year. And that's the math. 1.06 to the power of 12 equals 2.01. Small gains compound into enormous results. 6% more on ARM might mean adding a $50 upsell to your business or your service. 6% more on headcount means 6% more clients, and that might be 3 more clients in actual terms. 6% longer leg might mean that they stay with you for an extra month and they pay 1 more month of revenue to you. These are not dramatic changes. They're achievable and they multiply each other as they compound. If you've got 6% more clients, and that equals 3 more clients, and that adds to 97 clients. So now you've got 100, and your ARM goes up 10%, and each client stays 1 month more, and you're giving yourself a raise of 6 to 10%. And that automatically improves your ROI because you're not doing it by adding more space. I mean, within 2 years, you double your business. And this is how it's done. It's not by listening to every podcast, reading every book, trying every new thing, changing things, taking one step backward with every little change, tweaking your brand 4 times in a year. It's done by the consistent and specific application of the simple 6 and focusing on incremental growth. So the next step here is to schedule. So pick the metric that you're going to focus on first. I really like ARM for most businesses. Most businesses are underpriced. When you start out, you tend to price your business based on what you can afford, and you are not a great client. You're broke, you're scared, you don't want to spend money. Your clients are not like that. So the easiest place when I'm mentoring somebody to improve their business is usually ARM, just by raising their prices. So what we're going to do here is just basically set ourselves an order of attack. So we're going to do ARM first, then we're going to do headcount second, because it's always fun to get new clients. Then we're going to really focus on how to keep clients longer. Then we're going to take a quick peek at our EHR, or our ROI, and our expenses, and say, like, how can I improve our expenses? Maybe I can sublet some space to a massage therapist or something like that. Then we're going to give ourselves a little raise, maybe just even $50 a week. And then our EHR will go up automatically. We don't even have to work less, but you probably will if you're following this plan. So now we've scheduled everything in, and it's just about time to pick a tactic. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to our ARM list, and we're going to choose one thing to do. Okay. So if I go all the way back here to my ARM, I've got a few things to do. Raise rates. Well, that's scary. But if I add on nutrition, for example, that's something that I can do within the next month. If I sell it to, how many people do I have to sell it to? What do I need to price it at? Well, my goal is to increase my revenue by 10%. And if I've got 100 clients and they're paying me $200 a month, then I know, like, I've got 20,000 in revenue. I want to improve this ARM by 10%. The ARM is 200. I want to get up to $20 more a month. I can quickly do the math here and figure out, like, exactly how many clients I need to sell that to. So add nutrition, sell to 10 clients. Okay. That's a tall order for a month, but we're still going to do this and only that until we've done it, until we've added a nutrition program and sold it to 10 people. This is actually easier than I'm making it sound. If you take a month-long course and then you have to get certified, this will take longer than a month. But if you just add a nutrition habits program, for example, you could do that by tomorrow morning. You could have AI run it for you, and you could probably sell it to 10 people within the next 2 weeks. Only when those 10 people are sold, only when you've achieved this goal, do you move on to number 2, client headcount. So now we go back in our list and we say, like, okay, we want to increase our client headcount by about 6%. Which one of these marketing strategies are we going to use? Now, if it sounds like this is getting really complicated, don't worry. I'm going really fast here. You can do this. You can slow it down. You can use AI to help you choose a tactic, give you lists of tactics, help you plan out step by step by step. Like, how do I actually do this? You can go back through these videos. You can get better at the marketing stuff, for example, and you can find more content on businessisgood.com. You can also work directly with a mentor, which is what I definitely recommend. Somebody that's in your niche so that you can say, hey, how do I keep clients longer in this industry? And they will know from their own experience. Now, if you hit that 6% goal really, really early, like less than a week, great. Move on to the next metric. If you haven't hit it after a month, drop that tactic, move to the next metric. And when this metric comes back around again, pick something different. So if, for example, I've been working for a month and I haven't sold 10 nutrition packages yet, you got to move on. So move on to number 2, getting more clients. If after a month you haven't gotten 3 new clients here, move on to the next metric. And when the client headcount metric comes back around again, you'll pick a different tactic for that from the list that you've already made. Okay. Just keep your 4 funnels running all the time and keep everything else on maintenance. Earlier, I said you should be maintaining 90% of your business and changing maybe 10% per month. That's it. And so you don't want to be like changing your rates, pushing people to buy more personal training, getting people on a recurring plan, giving yourself a raise, cutting back on hours, all in the same month. That's way too much. Okay. But make sure that the basics, your 4 funnels keep running, that you keep getting better at sales, that your website works, etc. Just put your creative energy, that 10% of your time, into growth focus, one lever, one metric at a time. And then after you've cycled through all 6, start again. Set new 6% goals, pick new tactics, or repeat the ones that have worked the best. Over time, this creates a ratchet effect. And just for a second here, if adding the nutrition program last time got you 10 more clients or boosted your ARM by 10%, the easiest way to boost your ARM by 10% again is to do the same thing again. It's not to chase novelty. The fewer new things that you have to add, the better. Just get better and better at what you currently offer. That way, none of your metrics slide backward because you're maintaining the others while ignoring that one. It really is like turning a flywheel. And the graphic that I shared you at the beginning of this workbook is a flywheel for that reason. If you go improve ARM in week 1 to 2, improve leg in week 3, improve EHR in week 4, improve headcount in week 6, improve ROI in week 7, and NOB also in week 7, and then you go again, that means every 7 weeks, your business is improving by about 6%. And by the end of the year, your business will have doubled. This is how businesses grow. The first rotation of that flywheel is hard. The second one feels a little bit easier. By the 10th rotation, the flywheel has a momentum and it keeps accelerating. So they would keep executing on the consistent stuff. You would try the new thing and then you would delegate it off, right? But you don't have staff. So what holds your gains? Systems and AI. When you improve any metric, systemize the tactic that worked, turn it into a repeatable process, automate what you can. You improved ARM by adding an upsell, build it into your sales script so that it happens every time, or your automated email sequence so that you don't have to remember to do it. You improved your headcount by running a referral event, put that on your calendar 4 times a year as a recurring quarterly event so you don't forget to do it while you're chasing novelty later on. Create a checklist each time. Use AI to generate the invitation copy each time. You improved your content output? Great. Use the content interviewer prompt from part 7 every single month. Schedule that in. Make that part of your monthly routine. The single person business version of mentoring your staff is build the system so you don't have to think about it. Build the AI bot. Your 4 funnels from this series are the foundation. The simple 6 is how you improve your business systematically forever. Now, I want to give you a few concrete examples of simple 6 cycles for a single person business. So let's talk through a few different ones. So the first example is a freelance web designer. Now, let's say the freelance web designer has about 8 clients. And let's say that each client is paying $500 a month on average, and they stay for about 4 months. So they're paying about $500 a month. He's got 8 clients, and they generally stay about 4 months. Now, if you're a web designer and you're freelance, you're solving problems for people, you've got a couple of places here that you could potentially improve your ARM and your LEG. So maybe that if you go to the tactics for ARM, you're going to add a $75 a month website maintenance package as an upsell to every client. You could add more in here in your ARM, including just like raising your rates. And then what you would do is you would go down to your SMART goals here. Let's go set your SMART goals. And your goal here is to get 3 out of your 8 existing clients to add the maintenance package. So our ARM goal tactic is maintenance. Goal is 3 out of 8 clients. That's a 28% ARM increase across your entire business, way more than 6%. And then to execute, all you got to do is email each client this week with the offer, follow up by phone, close 3 of them. Then you systemize it. You add the maintenance offer to your onboarding process so that every new client hears about it and maybe they automatically even opt into it. Then after you've done that, maybe you look at leg, right? Clients who have maintenance packages stay longer because they have this ongoing relationship with you. So your goal is to improve your average retention from 4 months to 5. Okay. And you start tracking the clients who have the maintenance package. Let's look at a different example here. Maybe this is a personal trainer, more from my background. But let's say that you're going to run a single person gym, which I definitely think is possible now. Let's say that you've got 15 current clients here. They're paying $200 a month on average. Okay, that's their package. And they stay for an average of 8 months. Okay, so your SixStorm focus is leg first. You maybe discover that in the industry, 8 months for personal training is actually really, really low. So retention is the biggest opportunity. How can I keep people longer? Okay, so you could put like goal reviews in here. So you set up, your goal review, which we did actually talk about in part 6 of this series. Then if we look down at the SMART goal, okay, we hop on down here and we say, we want to reduce client churn by 6% this month or keep people 6% longer. Okay. And basically you're just keeping one client who would have left. So you're going to book goal reviews with every client this month. You celebrate their wins, you adjust their plans, and then you systemize. You put goal reviews in your calendar as a recurring process so that every client every 90 days comes in and talks to you with no exceptions. Once you've got that in place, you're going to look at the next metric, which is probably headcount. Okay, so we're going to try and get up to maybe 18 clients. We're going to improve that metric. So now we go back to our list here. We set a SMART goal of plus 3 clients. Okay, great. And so we can use the goal reviews to generate referrals, or we can try and go back to our other funnels and double down on those and get more clients. The third example that I want to share with you is a bookkeeper. If you owned a bookkeeping business, let's say that you've got about a dozen clients. They're paying you $350 a month, which is decent for a good bookkeeper. And you're keeping them for about 14 months, which means they're probably signing up. You're doing their books. You're getting them through maybe 1 or 2 tax cycles, and then they're actually quitting. So what can we do? Okay, we could look at improving your EHR. You're doing way too much low value work. They're showing up and they've got this grocery bag full of receipts. Guilty. How can you actually improve on that? Well, you can use AI to improve your monthly report generation for them. So you give them kind of this really cool report at the end of the month, cash in, cash out, next profit, what you did differently, maybe what's working. Okay, so AI report card. That's super good. That'll actually help the entrepreneur feel like where they're growing their business. You could use a lot of the simple 6 to actually even do that for you. Okay. So right now, the reason that you're not doing it is because it takes like 2 hours per client, and AI could take about 3 minutes if you build the template one time. So your SMART goal down here is to reduce the number of hours that you're actually working here, or at least the time that you spend on reports, by about 50%, which would free up about 18 hours per month. That is a lot. And the way that you execute is that you build report templates in Claude, you test it with 3 clients, you refine, and then you roll it out to all 12. The template in this case is the system. It runs every single month. And then the next month, you're going to go back to increasing headcount, because now you've got maybe 18 more free hours per month, you can run a referral campaign and a content funnel. And so now your next goal is like, let's get one more client here. But the first goal that we actually had was to improve EHR by decreasing hours. So you're making an extra 20 bucks an hour, whatever that is. So here's what I want you to do right now. Write down your current numbers for all 6 of these metrics. How many paying clients do you have? Your ARM, your total revenue divided by the number of your clients. Your leg, how many months or visits does the average client spend with you? Your ROI, your total expenses as a percentage of your revenue. Your EHR, your take home by hour, if you're getting paid by hour from your business. And NOB is the total of everything that you take home from your business. Now, if you don't know some of these numbers, you can figure them out. And it's really important that you do, because you can't improve what you don't measure. And then you can do a SixStorm for each one, 1 minute per metric. Write down every tactic you can think of to improve each one, or copy paste the prompt that I'm going to give you into Claude and say, here's the kind of business I have. Here's the exercise that I'm doing. How do I improve my ARM? Please give me 10 ways. Pick the tactic that you like the best, that feels the easiest to you, because that's the one that you're most likely to do. Then you pick the metric with the biggest opportunity. Don't automatically default to trying to get more clients. It's actually better to solve your ARM and your retention issues first, and then you're pouring clients into a higher value, stickier web. Choose the fastest, easiest tactic, set a 6% to 10% improvement goal, and give yourself a month to execute on it. Just ask yourself, if I focused only on this thing for 1 month, getting more referrals, or building my organic social media funnel, or maybe it's like improving the reports so that I can increase my client value, what difference would that make to my business if you just did that one thing for a month? If you get it done in 2 weeks, wonderful, move on to the next thing. The key here is execution. If you improve every metric by 6% every month, or every 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, you'll double your business in a year. That's not a motivational slogan. That's just math. This is the end of our Starting a Single Person Business series. Let me tell you what you've actually built over these 9 episodes. First, you have a clear understanding of what you sell, not your product, but the problem that you solve. And this is massive. Most businesses never, ever do this. And that's why they run into trouble with their marketing and their sales process. You also have a defined first product with a transformational statement and a before after promise. This is so important now that all the old businesses are falling way behind because they don't understand what it is that they're selling or how it solves their clients' problems. You have a defined first product. You have an infrastructure. You have a website, an email collector, a Facebook group, and a call to action that ties them all together. You have 4 marketing funnels, way more than most businesses ever build. You have social media, you have referrals, you have content and paid ads, each one of them feeding the others. And you have a framework for continuous improvement that compounds over time. You've got a real business here, not a hobby, not a side project, but a business with real systems and funnels and a growth strategy. And you built it yourself with AI, but without hiring a team, without spending thousands on agencies or software. You can do this. I strongly recommend that you find a mentor in your niche, but the reality is you don't need help to get up and going. You don't need permission. You don't need an A+ in your college business classes. You don't even need an amazing invention or a new idea. You can do this with AI. You can do it without spending thousands on agencies or software or having an investor or any of that other stuff, saving up $20,000 first, because your business will change as it grows. Your product will evolve. Your funnels will improve. Someday you might add staff, or you might choose to stay solo. Either way, the foundation is going to hold. It's solid. So here's my final advice. Don't always be chasing the next shiny thing. The work that you've done in this series is enough, but now do it better. Get better at sales, get better at delivery, get better at marketing, get better at prompting the AI, get better at leading yourself. The business will always be limited by its leadership. You are the ceiling, and it's up to you to raise it. This is Business is Good. I'm Chris Cooper. This has been Starting a Single Person Business. 9 episodes from what do I sell all the way to how do I keep growing forever. If this series helps you, share it with somebody who needs it. And if you want to go deeper on the Simple 6, on marketing, on building a business that gives you the life you want, go to businessisgood.com. Thanks for listening. Now go do the work.